Do you remember last week?
How could I forget? I was pooping in between takes.
When you had your Pedialyte. Mm-hmm. I've got my ginger ale here because this is what I've been sipping on the last couple of days because I've been cursed.
What happened? I talked to you Friday and you were fine.
I was great Friday. And then around 2 a.m., I awoke with such a fright. and I was doing some things in the bathroom, and you were the first person to come to my mind. I have not been sick like that in a long time, and I was sick like that from steady on the hour every hour from 2 a.m. until about 6:30 in the morning.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
And
I know how that feels.
I know that
nobody knows better than I how that feels.
And almost every time that I got up, God bless him, Micah would also come to the bathroom. And every single time I would wave him on, I'd be like, you gotta go. I don't need you
this
in here
isn't
for
a partner.
And this is not a partnership. And he would be like, can I do something? And I'd say, you can go away. You can go away. I'm like, just go. I mean, as everyone knows, he's seen me through some stuff since the beginning. It's not like I'm like, don't look at me
it's a building block of your
because I'm throwing up, but it's more just spare yourself. Go to bed. Go rest your head. Because I cannot. Gosh. And so, yeah, it was a rough 24 hours, but I made
wondering,
it.
Did we sin against God or something?
I don't know.
We brought this upon ourselves?
I did make a post on Instagram that I had a stomach bug, and I got a handful of messages, and people said, I knew Sallie was going to get you sick.
It was a full week since we had seen each other in person.
It was, but it was really funny that multiple people were like, this is Sallie's fault. I was like, you know what? It is Sallie's fault.
It's not.
No,
it wasn't me.
I don't know what it was. Yeah, because
you were around a lot of people this week, though. I know several people whose children, it's been going around.
It has. So
it's been ripping through homes. And Everly, you said she threw up randomly.
Yeah, really random.
Is all Everly's fault.
I know, but then
I wasn't
again,
gonna say anything, but it's totally Everly's fault.
She had something happen overnight. I don't know what it was because I just woke up and was like, what is that? And I can only assume it was a little bit of throw up. But then she's been fine since. She just hasn't had a big appetite. I neither have I.
Oh, man.
So,
well, listen, you can look at this two ways. You can look at this as a setback or a jump start to your fitness goals.
That's exactly. I thought, you know what?
You're lighter.
I'm feeling lighter in multiple ways, and we can only go up from here.
It's probably going to push you towards, vegetables,
yes,
and healthy foods.
I mean, all I had yesterday was a cup of broth.
Look at you.
So I thought, I'm going places.
You're healthy.
I'm a pillar of health.
Yes.
So
I am so sorry.
That's what's been going on with me.
Holly texted me. I got a text. I didn't see it till Saturday morning, but it was at 3:30 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought, you have got to be kidding me, because we were laughing last week because our podcast, I was sick. It was like 2 weeks in a row we're talking about this, and here we are, round 3.
We just can't get away from talking about
our
bodily
niche.
Functions.
This is what we found our people.
And people have been approaching me in the wild.
This is what we're known for.
And mentioning our poop story, which it is funny. I mean, we're talking about it. It's not like it's completely off the wall, but it is funny to have that conversation in public with multiple people
you're
present. You're a poop story. I'm like, yeah, well, we all do it.
Yeah.
The book didn't lie. Everyone poops. So
yeah,
that's where we're at. But I'm doing better.
I'm so glad.
I've had a strong 24 hours. So we're just riding that out.
Don't do what I did. Do not go get a frozen caramel today.
I would never. I've just been sipping my ale and eating crackers. That's all I do.
Now, I have to ask you, because in my household, as soon as I was done being sick, of course, Andrew got sick, but with something completely different from what I had. And I always sort of begrudge him when he gets sick. Specifically after I'm sick, it's kind of like, how dare you? I have needed rest, and no sooner am I like on my feet than now I got to take care of you, which is so selfish because he's the one who was taking care of me. But it's like, how dare you get sick? I get so frustrated with him.
So this morning, because Micah chose to sleep on the couch last night, which I don't blame him. Yeah. And I did say I was a little delirious at one point yesterday because he came in to get some pillows and blankets, and he's like, I'm going to sleep on the couch. And I said, do you want me to go to the couch? Like I should leave the room so he can be the most comfortable possible. And he laughed. He's like, pretty sure that you need the bed. So no, I'm going to go to the couch. It'll be fine. So this morning I wake up and I go out to the couch, and he asked me, he's like, how are you feeling? I said, I feel so much better. He said, good. Well, my throat hurts.
Yeah.
In one sentence, like bam, bam. And I just looked at him
what
and
Andrew
I said,
does.
no. No, it doesn't.
You get well right now. You go take an emergency, drink some water, walk around.
And I'm going to tell you what his problem is. He slept with a window open.
Well,
and it was
he's gonna catch
below
his
freezing.
death.
And he had a fan pointing right on his face.
Well, no wonder his throat hurts.
Exactly. And so he's trying to pull something on me. I just know it. But I think he's his own problem.
Andrew had like a sinus, some virus. He really did. He was like, I'm not feeling very well. And I was sympathetic because I'm like, I understand it's
You're like, I've been sick my whole life. So I get it.
This whole year. So I get it. But he's like, I've been like coughing up black stuff. And I was like, you should go get, I take back what I said about being annoyed with you being sick. You should go get that checked out.
Yeah, you're better alive for me in this instance.
I think I said, you're worthless to me if you're dead. Worthless.
This episode is going to be all about keeping the romance alive.
Andrew just got life insurance policies for both of us. So if he dies or if I die.
Do you hype those babies up?
Yeah, I think I get like $750,000 if he dies.
Perfect. Let's transition. Ways to kill. No, I'm kidding. I didn't do it.
There was. We stumbled into this TikTok compilation the other day on YouTube of it was like things that you know that should be illegal. And it was several people sharing like how to kill someone, make it look like a heart attack.
Oh, God.
And like if you push on this place on their thumb if you hold it for like an hour. And I just thought, surely that can't be true. But then and Andrew and I, he'd just finished the life insurance policy.
Gonna test
I was
it
like,
out?
hon, let me rub your hands.
Come
I
here.
just want to give you a little thumb massage.
I love hand rubs. Come here.
All of these, and I thought, this is to put this out on the internet.
That's terrifying.
It is I'm like, well, you can't talk about this.
You can't tell the public.
Which the thumb thing, I have no idea if that's, I don't even know where.
I've actually heard that that's a pressure
like
point for like headaches.
Well, apparently it will kill you too.
I got to watch that because I do that to myself. Mine's like in between. If I have a
I don't
headache,
know where
sometimes I
it's
just
at.
give it
It's
a
like
squeeze.
some vein. But this girl on TikTok said if you push it,
Maybe we should
It
have a
will kill
medical
you.
professional.
maybe we should have someone.
Ask the experts.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that if I end up dead, I want you to look into Andrew.
I'm going to.
And vice versa.
And if he does, we're deleting this episode forever.
I don't know what happened to that episode.
I don't know. It must have
man.
malfunctioned.
Welcome to the Why Can't We Be Friends podcast.
Yeah. Hello.
Specifically, I want to give a little shout out
This shout out
to my
is
boy,
very special.
Jesse.
Jesse
Jesse is our number one fan, whom I don't know that I've ever even met Jesse, but I just keep hearing how much he loves the podcast.
You've never met Jesse?
I don't know that I've met him in person. Like, I know who he is.
Well, we need to change that. Jesse's a great guy.
Jesse, it's nice to meet you
Jesse,
over the sound of my voice.
thanks for being a consistent listener.
We appreciate you, Jesse. We're going to go to the top because of you.
Just because of you.
Jesse.
And just Jesse.
Jesse.
Jesse, this
If you want to shout out on the Why Can't We Be Friends podcast, you just need to let Holly and I know
just let us know that
how
you're listening.
much you love us.
We need to see your dedication.
Maybe we should start charging money for shout outs.
You're getting ahead of yourself.
Okay.
We gotta give the people what they want.
They want to give us their money.
But seriously, if this is your first time tuning in, you're clearly in for a treat. I'm Holly.
And I'm Sallie. And we talk about all sorts of things. But right now...
Yeah, what did you bring?
I'd like to start this episode with a selected reading.
Okay.
From my diary from when I was 12 to 14.
Are these all dated? Do we have
these
a year?
These are dated. Yeah, and I was going to see if I could actually find one that's
was
close.
The year?
We're looking at 2005, starting in 2004. I'm looking if I can find something from our current
I'm
season.
impressed that you still have this in an easily accessible location.
Well, sometimes I just like to flip back
Keep tabs
through
on yourself.
The closest date I have to the date. Oh my goodness, this is so funny.
I feel like I really have to listen to this.
Let's see.
Let's really paint a picture here. What did you look like at this phase of life? What was your hairstyle?
Long hair. When in 7th grade, in 6th grade, I French braided my hair every day of the year. I'm not exactly
in braids.
When I say the word, I do not overuse this word. When I say literally, I literally every day every day of the year, I would wash my hair in the morning and French braid my hair.
Are you a big horse girl?
Big into horses.
I feel like this is a horse girl thing, the French braids.
Yeah, it was. And it was always, they were wet. So they would my hair was so wet. Like at the end of the day, you take your braids out and the middle of your hair is still wet. And let's see. I need to find, there's a really good passage that I want to read that I should have marked and I forgot. It's so funny.
It's fine. We're all waiting.
We go. All right. December 31st, 2005. So I am 13. It is officially the last day of the year 2005.
Observant.
I just finished watching You've Got Mail, the romantic comedy with Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. I adore this film. Love it.
Love it.
It is one of those you can watch anytime it's on. I know I will. Here's where it gets really good. Tonight I feel as if a flood of words could be poured out onto this page.
What?
Yet I can't find the correct ones. Nothing or no word can recap a terrific year. Only memories can capture what you feel. 12 years old, you guys, prodigy. I will, however, review it. Let's see. The winter 2004, I was at Beaver Creek, Colorado with a friend. I met Petra and planted a seed in her life. I spent an amazing summer at Tri-Gulch with amazing people. School started up well, and I believe that I can finish out strong. I met new people, K-N-E-W, new people, and made old relationships better. Here we go. And cut out relationships that were not influencing me for the best.
Oh.
I helped my volleyball team win state champs.
Did you?
And I shot my first deer. As I explain these things, I hope that memories can flood my head to remember what words cannot possibly describe.
Dear Lord. This is
melodramatic much. You found some old notes from your diary and it was shopping list.
Yeah.
Soda.
I was looking for vanilla Coke, Vanilla. Vanilla Coke
my gosh.
and Lucky Charms. And you're like,
I drew a picture.
A dark winter day. I'm like, you needed more children in your life.
This is a picture I drew.
Give the camera a nice shot of that. Oh.
This is a boy, Jordan, who I liked.
Oh, no.
We never dated, but we ended up being really good friends.
But you were thinking of him enough to draw him.
But also, disclaimer at the bottom. I did write exaggeration.
It makes me think.
This is not realism.
Like the commercials.
This
Cheetos, not actual size.
Just so you know when you see this.
I love
him.
Your name practice. I used to do that in everything.
Yeah, but I'm not writing my oh man, it's so good.
I just picture it almost feels like you're like Deb from Napoleon Dynamite. That's who I picture writing in this journal and then drawing. She's like tries to be so professional.
Oh man, here's another one. All right, here we go. This is from 2006. We just got back from Disney, and I can't say I'm all too happy to be back. After reading my diary, I realize what a terrific writer I am.
Oh my God. Humble.
So just for the future me to remember.
This is a note to you from you. Here it goes.
That I haven't read. Jordan asked me to the dance again. I went to Disney World and missed the dance, but the dance was rescheduled because of ice. After the day I just had, and hopefully I'll remember, this is my verse to live by. Even fools who keep quiet are thought to be wise as long as they keep their mouths shut. They are smart, which is probably means that I said something stupid at school, which I don't think you'd ever get that from reading my diary.
No,
that I
would
said
never.
Anything.
You were so humble.
Oh man, it's so good.
I just love that you're like,
so
I am a
good.
terrific writer.
Yeah.
I've realized this from reading back on my own writings from 24 hours ago.
Man, and then my last entry was from August 6, 2007.
Are you still
There we go.
maybe not diary keeper, but a journaler? Do you journal?
Occasionally. I used to a lot more.
If it's a cold wintry
If it's a
day,
cold
does
winter
the
day.
mood strike and you have to grab that quill and ink?
No. And typically if I journal, it's usually like if I'm reading my Bible and I'm praying about something.
Yes.
Then I write it out. But I don't. I did find, so my granny passed away. Mm-hmm. Gosh, 2020 now. It's almost been 2 years. Anyway, when we were cleaning out her house, she had a 5-year journal. Have you seen those?
I feel like I've heard about them. I've seen
an
modern ones.
It's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
It's 5 years, and you have enough room to basically write a sentence for what happened for the day. So, and she kept it, so I could look back on 5 years of her life and
That's
go
so
back.
cool.
It was really cool because she, I went back and looked at. I think it was 1970, like it might have been like 1970 to 1975 when my mom got married in 75. So I went back and looked at, like, I don't even know if she'd mentioned that my mom got married that day, but I went back and looked at significant days just to see, oh, wow, that's when this happened. And it was just really interesting because you forget.
Right.
And to go back and, like, reading this, I wrote this, I don't remember half of this stuff. And there are things, especially now with having kids, there's so many things that I think I don't want to forget.
I know.
This day, and then
I want to do a better job about keeping I journal, but not.
You want to go pull out a journal right now?
Not to that extent.
You're not a terrific writer like I am.
But I have, someone had gifted me when I was pregnant with Everly. It's a little prayer or some prayer journal and something else for like your child as they grow. And it's not a dated thing, so it doesn't hold you to, like, if you miss out on if you miss this many days, the journal's over.
Yes.
But I had started things in it while I was pregnant and then kind of touched on a couple while I had her. But then, I mean, the first year is kind of like, I don't know that I could commit to a full journal to where I have a newborn at home and I'm also journaling. But we just recently lost my great aunt.
Yeah.
And my mom had come by the other day because she wanted me to have her old Bible. And so I was flipping through it and she had dated, which I felt like I learned a little bit about her. So it was kind of cool. But she had dated, like, read the full Bible by this date, like had put little notes and such in it. And I thought it's so interesting how when people pass or something happens, because I've done that in other instances, I'm like, I want to find, what am I looking for? I'm like looking for notes or the hidden things or something that's like, oh, maybe I forgot or didn't know that. But yeah, it makes me think in the moment. I'm like, I should keep better notes because I know there's going to be so many people who want to know about me.
Everything is so digital now too. And I was thinking there are videos or things that I have on Instagram.
Yes.
Especially when my kids were little, just like documenting or even story highlights, some that are just more so for me to remember.
Right.
And then I think if something happens to this account,
I will be devastated.
All this will be gone.
Yeah.
And I won't have it. Or if the cloud crashes. Or, something.
Who understands the cloud?
I don't understand. I don't know that if I get a new phone that all my 10,000 photos are actually going to be downloaded, because I thought I had stuff backed up.
You gotta print your photos.
Well, so all of my photos from when Andrew and I first got married through maybe like the first 4 years of our marriage were on a phone that quit working, and I don't have any of them. And it's really sad.
There is a photographer.
Don't have any honeymoon photos.
That's so sad.
Yeah. He's got some. Andrew has some on his phone.
There's a photographer I follow online who every year at the end of the year, which I think for somebody who takes maybe even more photos on their iPhone, like I have a ridiculous amount of photos. So maybe like at the end of each month or at the end of the year, he selects all and he just prints a 4x6 of them, and he doesn't do anything except put them in a shoebox.
Yeah.
And he said it's just for the sake of, I printed the photos. I know that they're there. We don't have to put the pressure of putting them up on our walls or, coming up with an album to make them in. Because obviously I think a lot of that is where people are like, I don't have time to do any of that. But he just mass prints all of them, puts them in a box, puts it away, and it's done.
I do have chapbooks that I do monthly.
I did those for Everly for the first year of her life.
We still do them, and I got them out the other day, and Dot really likes looking at them.
Yeah.
And just having something tangible. But one of my favorite things when I was a kid was to go into where my mom had all of our photos. Mm-hmm. She had all of us kids divided into our own shoebox, and I loved going through and looking at those.
I did too. That was, I got in trouble though, because eventually once I hit around 10 or 10 to 12, I would go in there and hunt of photos, and I would steal them and I would cut them up and put them into a scrapbook. And at the time I thought, why are they so mad? Like, I'm creating art. I'm creating a photo album for us. And then I just recently found one of those and was like, oh, this is why you're mad? Because I took these photographs and either cut only myself out of a picture or like me and Dad, and cut out, like a whole family reunion picture. And it's like, oh, I'll just chop myself out. I thought, that's why you didn't want me doing that. But it's still, the memory's still there. It's still holding true.
I have been reading Little House on the Prairie.
Don't you always, haven't you read this multiple times?
How
many is
like
there?
6 books in the series.
Okay.
Last year I read a few.
I haven't read them since I was a kid.
I read a few when I was a kid. I don't think I ever read the whole series, but I've just been reading them. They're so good. It is so...
I just don't even remember.
It's
I remember
so
reading
to me.
The initial book.
Well, I just finished On the Banks of Plum Creek. It's really good. Wow. Anyway, she's talking about her life, and they were up in like Wisconsin, and they moved down actually pretty close to where we are, right around like Kansas-Oklahoma border, and then back up to Minnesota, like all of these things and these interesting stories. And I think she starts the book, she's like 6 or 7, and it goes all the way until she's a teenager. But I was also thinking, how do you remember all of this?
You calling her a liar?
Well, I'm like, there's no way you remember what your mom said. What Ma said every single time.
I don't know.
So I know because I was thinking, okay, if I was to create a childhood story of my life, I can remember some highlights, but there's so many things.
So many things would be
that
missing.
I don't remember.
Maybe it's because we remember too much we have too much going on in our current life.
I'd have to get real quiet.
You'd have to really get this diary back out.
I would have to. I wish so badly. I had a diary from 3rd grade.
Oh.
And it was velvet with embossed hearts on it. Oh, man, it was good.
Sounds
and
beautiful.
And the inside, the day I got it, we got it at the mall, and the DKNY perfume lady had sprayed a sample on a little card. And so I taped that in there, the DKNY sample card.
Yes.
And there was good stuff written in that. And one day when I was cleaning, I threw it away because I thought, I don't need this anymore. And I am so mad at myself for doing that, because I'm sure it was so funny.
I'm really hopeful that I can find my diary one day soon. I feel like I'm getting close to it. I found some old boxes from my childhood bedroom in our storage, and I still can't find it, but it's going to be good if I do find it. Also, because I was not necessarily boy crazy, but I had boyfriends, quote, and my mom knew nothing about them. And so it was always like my life was so dramatic on this side of me. And then like I would come home and be like, no, I don't like boys. No, I just play sports and go to school. Like it'd be fine. But then I would like do these dramatic journal entries and
like a flood of words.
Oh yeah. And I just know that there's some good quality content waiting for me in those.
Do you have in your diary a countdown to when the boy that you had a crush on got his braces off? Because I did.
Oh my God. Was he...
That's how committed I
was.
was.
Were you hopeful that it was going to be better?
No. So I liked this boy. He was older than me. He was Andrew's age. So, and I like our families were friends, so we knew each other. And I remember going to his house for New Year's Eve. My brother, brought me to the party. And it was like a big party, lots of people we knew. And I remember sitting on the couch, and I didn't like him. And I remember being in my white velour tracksuit from Gap, and French braided hair.
Of
and
course.
I'm sitting on the couch, and I looked at him, and it was just like, I love you. Like never noticed him before.
That's how it was when we were younger.
I'd never noticed him before, and then all of a sudden it was like, I'm in love with you, and I want to marry you right now. And he had this girlfriend who was a year older.
Terrible.
So he was in 8th grade, and I was in 6th, and he had a girlfriend who was a freshman. She was a hot girl. And so skinny and just like
she didn't have
pretty.
Braids like you did.
No, she had the ponytail. She had the extreme side swept bangs with chunky highlights. And
I loved the side swept bangs.
And he liked her, and I was just like, I love him. And I spent the next.
He is my soul.
He is my soulmate. And I spent the next few years.
Oh,
and years. Just any interaction, any small interaction was just
heaven. It was everything.
So I remember any interaction with him was just,
everything.
Cloud nine. So I remember he told me one day we were talking about braces, or I had to get braces, and he told me when he was getting his braces off, and
You hung on to that?
I hung on to that. So that, because if you see him at school, I could go.
17 days.
How creepy to be.
So terrible.
A 9th grade boy, the 7th grader is like, you get your braces off in 11 days.
Hey, it's me, Sallie. You get your braces off in 17 days?
So I'm trying to see if I have an entry with him. So he, oh my gosh, I loved him. I remember he had like a black sweater with like a white shirt underneath.
Oh, wow.
And then after that, I wore a black sweater with a white, I tried to dress.
You're wearing a black sweater.
This is navy.
Okay.
This is totally different.
Well, it looks black from here.
So I loved him, and he moved away. They moved, and about that time I was starting to decide I didn't like him anymore. I don't know that I wrote about him. I hope I did, because it's really good if I did. So the other day, a friend showed me what this guy's up to. I've seen him a couple of times. Mm-hmm. He's not married. He's
still on the market.
He is an artist.
Okay. You say that questionably.
I would describe it as very art house type of art.
Okay.
Very out there.
Abstract?
Extremely abstract.
Okay. A feeler.
Not like his medium is not painting or drawing. His medium is video. Specifically, there was a video. It was of him dancing. And my friend showed me, she's like, have you seen this video of this guy? I was like, no, I've never looked at his YouTube channel. And I looked, and I was like, oh, wow. And she goes, do you think that he's being serious? And so I went home and showed Andrew, because he's like dancing around.
Oh,
and then at one point, he takes off his shirt and is dancing.
What?
And it has like 17 views on it.
And you're one of those.
And I was one of them. And I asked Andrew, I was like, Andrew, what am I watching here? I don't know.
What is this?
I don't know what this is. And Andrew's like, it's like art house made to make you feel
Andrew
weird.
Instantly is like, are
Andrew
you trying to make me
understands
jealous?
it. Yeah.
You trying to make me
But it was
see
one of
what you
those
could have had?
things where I was not on the verge of marrying this guy, but it just makes you go, man, my life could have taken a real different turn.
Okay.
Things could have gone in a totally different direction.
That is no joke. So in the midst of my, I'll just call it boy crazy, because it was also, it's that same extent like you, I'm going to make a countdown. It wasn't that it was every living, breathing moment I'm thinking about it, but it was just that phase of life is so weird. And the
fall
things
in love
that,
instantly.
yes.
Like the people on The Bachelor, too. I think they're living in the same.
I think it's the same thing.
The same thing.
Yeah. And I can remember being in 6th grade and there was a boy that I liked.
Mm-hmm.
And I was passing notes with a friend. I was a big note passer.
Mm-hmm.
I knew all the fancy ways to fold them, pass them in the hall. Big note passer.
Did you ever put them underneath the desk where the bar, like if you had a friend that sat in the same spot as
Whatever
you?
we need to do to make this work, we're doing it.
Yes.
And so we're passing back and forth, but at the time that we're passing notes, it was like dedicated reading time. Okay. And I remember trying to be like, probably
so obvious.
So beyond obvious, but I thought, I'm like, this is CIA material right here, what I'm doing. And I would like prop up a book and like, look up, I'm reading a book. And then I remember on the pass, the teacher was like, Holly, bring that up to me.
Oh, no.
Well, this is my life.
Yeah.
You're getting into my life. So I remember bringing the note. And it was, I can just remember it being so dumb and like, do you like Tommy? Yeah, I love Tommy. Like, hasn't talked to Tommy ever. I love Tommy. He is so beautiful. And like, it's like this back and forth. And I remember the teacher reading the note fully, which I don't respect. I think I had a boundary and crossed it. And I remember her looking at me going, I want a parent to sign this and I want you to bring it back to me.
Oh,
and
my
I want
gosh.
you to, yeah, how about that? I thought, let's have a strike one. Okay? Let's start somewhere.
Who is this teacher? Good night.
I remember. And
that seems a little extreme. How old were you?
This was 6th grade.
Okay.
So first problems first. My mother does not know that I talk to boys. She can't see this note. So I go home and I'm like, all right, what am I going to do? I'll just sign it myself as my mother. Yes. No, I think I opted for my dad's signature because my dad's was a little more sloppy. My mom's is very polished, and I tried that in 4th grade once. I have a history of this, apparently.
A forgery?
I do remember. Hold on, I'll get there. Wait. So I'm like, you know what? I'll do dad's signature. Way easier. I'm going to get away with this. So I like scribble my dad's signature, turn it in the teacher, like, there you go.
Yeah.
Go on to my next class. And it was midway through the day. So me thinking that I've gotten away with this. Midway through the day, I get called into that teacher's office again, or her classroom, because that was when we started switching classrooms. So it was like, oh God, it's going down. So I went back to her, and she pulled me out of a different class, and she said, did your dad really sign this? And I said, yes, he did. This is all over so that my mom wouldn't know that I like Tommy. And I remember the look in her eyes. It's probably because it was so traumatic that it's like burned into my brain. And her being like, I'm going to give you one more chance. Did your dad really sign this? Yes. She said, okay. And so she sent me back. So I thought, got her. She called my mom to ask if her or my dad had seen this note. All of this.
Oh, gosh. I want to die just thinking about this.
So I get called back later in the day.
Oh, no.
And all she does is she's like, I called your mom. I know that your dad didn't sign this, and I know that you signed it. And if you lie to me again, you're going to get in-house suspension. I cried.
What is wrong with this teacher?
I think that she was having a bad time at home, and she was taking it out on a 6th grader in love.
It's a note. My gosh.
I know.
Teachers, cool it. You just want to exercise some power trip over these these 11-year-olds. Yeah.
Because also I was a very good student. Yes. I always wanted my teachers to like me. I was the good kid, okay? Could not bear in-house suspension. I mean, I had detention once in elementary school for sticking my tongue out at a kid, and I felt like that was a stretch, and I bawled about that too. But that was the most damage that I had ever done.
I knew a kid who had in-house suspension, and they forgot that he was in this area. It was at the church. It was underneath the auditorium, auditorium seats, and they forgot he was there, and they did not bring him lunch. So he was like in a dungeon.
Oh my God.
All day.
That could have been me.
You know what? He ended up, he is a great thriving.
He's an artist thriving. On YouTube.
Yeah,
I'm kidding. So I get grounded. I don't get in-house suspension. All of that. And even I remember my mom, when I came home, she was like, why did you not just bring the note to me and be honest that you weren't doing, your work? And I'm pretty sure that the teacher had emailed her a copy of the note. It went too far.
Yeah.
For me to not be talking about drugs or violence. For me to just
Tommy.
be will you ask him out for me? That was the kind of conversation we're having. And yeah, that was really traumatic. But
I went through a season where my mom she thought that I was doing stuff, not bad stuff, but just are you listening to whatever? Or I had a computer, and I had some program uploaded onto it called Content Barrier, and nothing was getting through Content Barrier. Nothing.
Was it like a blocker?
Oh, blocked everything. It blocked.
Did it block? Were you ever a Club Penguiner?
No, I don't know what that is. I was very sheltered.
Okay.
Which in some ways I'm like, Andrew will go, "Ooh, I love this song." And I'll say, I have never heard that before. He's like, are you kidding me? Because I did not listen to
my mom
music.
confiscated an Eminem CD from me as a child.
I didn't know anything. Part of that I appreciate because I feel like my childhood was preserved for a really long. I enjoyed my childhood and was away from. And then other parts, I'm like, I didn't know what anything meant. But I remember my mom going, you were looking at, it was on Content Barrier. Something popped up, and it would generate a report every week so my mom could look through and see what I was looking at, which I think I was looked at forever21.com.
The nerve.
And it would, anything that popped up, it would report. And she's like, what is this website?
Oh man.
And she'd pull it up, and she's like, it's not bad. I just want to know why you were on it. And I was like, Mom, I don't know what website that is. And I was not lying. It's and she's like, well, I don't know. It says here. I'm like, Mom, I swear to you.
Being honest.
And that is one of the things I cannot abide. If someone thinks that I'm lying.
Oh, and you're not.
And I'm not. Which I'm not in a whole lot of situations where people think I'm lying. But specifically when I was a teenager.
Yes.
If your parents are like, are you being honest with me? And I'm like, yes, I am.
Yeah.
I don't know that you're being honest with me. I'm like, yeah, I freaking am.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. I can't do anything. But specifically when I knew that there were kids doing all
terrible
sorts
things
of crap. And I'm like, I downloaded Fergalicious and I'm getting in trouble. So-and-so is doing she's smoking crack down at the docks with her boyfriend, and I'm listening to Fergie.
I had
True
the Fergie
story. I got in big trouble.
I had the Fergalicious album. I also vividly remember being at Walmart once with my parents and grabbing the new Usher, the Confessions CD. And I was like, Mom, can I please get this? And she was like, no. He's in a bathtub on the back of the album. And I said, Mom, it's Christian.
You said that?
I did. And she was like, it is? I said, yes. And I got it. And I was in my room bumping.
So what we're really learning is that you're a liar.
I'm a liar.
When it suits you.
One of the worst times that I got in trouble was in the days of MySpace.
I didn't have any social media until I was a senior. But I've got
such a good time of life. I had stayed at a friend's house. It was like big sleepover, like probably 8, teenage girls. Like we were all, I don't even know that we were teenagers yet, actually. We were probably like 12. Mm-hmm. And it was in the day and age of MySpace being the thing to be on. I had no idea what it was. I knew that, I had an older sister, so I knew that she had a MySpace. I'd heard her talk about it. And so we all made profiles, like made each other's profiles. And it was completely innocent, mm-hmm. 100%. So we're on MySpace. Well, then I don't even know how. I think my sister told my mom, Holly's on MySpace.
Wendy.
Thanks, Wendy. She told my mom I was on MySpace. Then, it's all mm-hmm. downhill from there. I was in trouble. Then I made a secret MySpace. And it lasted me through the ages of MySpace pretty much. But when I initially got in trouble, I had a friend, Lexi, and her URL was myspace.com/sexylexi. But in the way that a sixth grader thinks that you use the word sexy. And my mom still to this day will, like, I don't even remember what we're talking about. She was like, is it sexy, Lexi? I was like, oh my God, Mom. It was not.
She's married with children.
She is married with a child. And she's like, I remember when I got in trouble for it. And she was like, what does sexy mean? I was like, I don't know.
My mom.
What does sexy mean?
Pulled up the lyrics of Fergalicious in the car.
It's amazing.
What do you think? Because it talks something about the rocks or something.
Yeah.
And she's like, what do you think that means? And I was in 9th grade. I legitimately had, Mom, I have no idea.
I just think it's a great Mom.
It's a great song. F to the E. Or it's D to the E to the yeah. Anyway, so when I was a senior in high school, my parents were out of town, and I was 17. I was able to stay home by myself.
Yeah, you were.
And I didn't do anything. So I decided I didn't have my ears pierced until I was 17. Mm-hmm. I decided I wanted to go get my ears pierced. So I was meeting an old teacher at the mall to like catch up.
What? Hold on. That's a weird sentence.
I was catching up with a teacher, female teacher. She'd had a baby.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, the place where we met was the mall.
Okay.
It was cool. It was still cool back then.
I know.
So I told her, I'm like, I'm thinking about getting my ears pierced. I had broken up with my boyfriend, and I was going through this phase of just like being super, I'm going to be independent. And
I'm going to be Fergalicious.
I'm going to go get my ears pierced is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So we went into Claire's, and they're like, we can't pierce your ears unless you're 18. I was like, are you serious? I'm 17. Yeah. Like, we can't without a consent with a consenting adult. And my teacher's like, I'll sign for you if they'll allow it. I'm like, you're not her guardian. So I, of course, because this is when your Facebook statuses were anything that you were thinking of.
Absolutely.
Was like live streaming I'm going to get my ears pierced. They won't let me in. I got to find a loophole.
They won't let me in.
They won't pierce my ears. And so I had a friend who was 18 go to Sallie's Beauty, buy a piercing gun.
Oh my God.
I paid for it. And then she just gave it to me, and I took it home, and my friend pierced my ears. And the whole time I'm like, I'm cheating the system, like on Facebook, piercing my ears. So my friend pierces my ears. And I'm like, I'm bebopping, having a great time.
Living your life.
My parents come home, and I'm talking to them. I'm like, oh, Chelsea, she pierced my ears. And my mom just kind of looks at me, and my dad goes, Sallie, why don't we go in the living room and have a talk real quick? And I'm just like, which is in the formal living room. You only talk in there if you're,
things are
you're
going
about
down.
to get killed.
Death is near.
Yeah, they're reading you your last rites. So I sit down, and I remember my dad just going, Sallie, we're a little bit concerned about what we've been seeing on your social media.
We're concerned about your social media.
About what you've been doing. And I was like, what are you talking about? And they're talking about the live. They were supremely disappointed. And in hindsight, if I told them, I'm sure my mom would laugh. But I was so mad.
Oh,
because
yeah.
I was like, what? Again, because I was thinking, there are kids having parties when their parents aren't home, sleeping with their boyfriends, doing drugs. Like, there were kids that were, they used to call them Skittle parties, where kids would steal their prescription, all the prescription drugs, put it in a big bowl, and just take a handful.
Oh my gosh.
Kids were doing that stuff. And I was getting my ears pierced by my friend who I had
and updating the world on your rebellion.
And it was just this tone of, oh my God, we're really concerned about what's going on.
Also, to be a teenager is to have that unyielding need to be in charge of your own life and be right and be on top, and you're not.
Hindsight, I think, okay, if I was out of town and I'm seeing some stuff that I'm just like, that's interesting. I would so much rather my parents go too hard on it than not investigate. But that same voice came out years later when Andrew and I were dating. We wanted to go to a wedding that was in Oklahoma City. We were dating. My dad would not let me drive down there with Andrew, just the two of us. We had to have somebody else drive with us. And the person, it was Diana. Anyway, you know Di.
Oh yeah, Di.
Diana, if you're listening to this, I couldn't go to that wedding because of you. She backed out.
Thanks a lot, Di.
Thanks a lot, Di. So I wasn't able to go. And my dad came into my room and goes, Sallie, you just got to know what 21-year-old boys want. And I remember, because Andrew's 21, and I just wanted to crawl on my floor and just die.
Die right there.
Oh, Dad, just stop talking to me. Stop.
When Micah and I were dating, so he worked at Quick Trip when he was younger, and we wanted to go see a movie or something. My dad was going to be home, and Micah was working at a Quick Trip close by our house. And so I'd called my mom and was, asking, can I go to the movie tonight? This is what we want to do. And Micah's going to get off work. Could he just come here and shower? She was like, no.
Yeah.
I was like, why? He's going to be dirty after working and he just wants to come shower. No. I don't think so.
He cannot be naked in this house.
I was like, Dad's home, but also thinking, what? I just want to go see a movie. And then cue me acting like a 12-year-old again. He did not shower at the house.
It is so frustrating to feel you want the responsibilities of an adult and you just can't. That angst. I had to, when my dad was sick. So my dad in January had the virus. COVID-19. He was really sick. And so my sister and I swapped off. We were caring for him 24/7.
Yeah.
And it was intense. And I would stay the night at their house for like a couple days, and then my sister would swap off. And I came home one night just for like a break to see Andrew and the kids. And I was like, it's just hard when you're an adult with your own home to step back into your childhood home.
Yeah.
And they weren't being demanding or anything like that, but it's just like, oh, this is weird being back in. It's like when you leave, it's like you're not really meant to go back.
Yeah, it's like there's something to that.
It's like there's something to that. I just didn't realize how much of my own person and my way of doing things, I just did not realize, oh, wow, I've changed a lot. Like the way that their house functions versus the way and there's nothing wrong with the way their house functions.
No.
But it's just like, this isn't my home.
I also think on the flip side of that now, going, man, it must be so weird and bizarre to raise a kid and then watch them raise kids and watch them be an adult. Because I think it's easy, especially like right after Micah and I got married, to feel like, wow, we're on our own now.
Yes.
Like we're adults, even though I was freshly 20 years old and
we know
doing
everything.
This thing. Yeah. And I don't need your help. I don't need anybody's help. And just watching like your baby and being
Playhouse.
Like, yeah. But then at the same time having to balance, well, I'm not like their go-to anymore. I remember Micah's dad had said to me one time in a conversation not too long ago that he and Cheryl had made the decision that they would not force themselves on the kids, that they would always just listen. And if we asked for their opinion, then they would tell us. Otherwise, they were just going to listen to us and then deal with being angry or frustrated later. And he said it is the hardest thing that they've had to do. And I thought, that's a really insightful perspective to be like, we're on the other hand, be like stomping our feet. And they're really just like, I'm just trying to help you, but you don't want it. But yeah, I'm just going to sit back and be here for you until you say you need me.
When I taught school for 1 year, and it was mostly high school, like juniors and seniors.
I'm out on that.
It was hard.
Yeah, no,
It
thank you.
was really hard because there were so many days I was like, oh, you guys are idiots. You're so dumb. But also going back, like, oh my gosh, I was so dumb.
Yeah.
And realizing, like, I can tell you, like, I remember there were these two guys, they're a guy and a girl, and they were trying to figure out how their relationship was going to work after they graduated. And I was like, and I straight up told them, I said, you guys if you're still dating by the end of the summer, I'll be shocked. And they just looked at me. And I was like, you think that you're going to go to college, separate colleges, and you've only been dating for like a month, and you think that that's going to work? I'm like, you're going to want to date other people. You're in a bigger pond. The only reason you've ended up here together right now is because y'all have dated everyone else there is to date, and it's the last selection. It's last man standing, so it's the two of you. And they're like, oh, we're going to try and make it work. And I just thought, how can I teach you what can only be learned in hindsight?
Right.
You have to, there's so many things that like, you just have to go out and experience it on your own. And I'm sure that as a parent, it's like, I'm trying to save you heartache. And even when I look back at things I did early in my marriage that I thought I knew everything. It's like, you just have to be married for like 10 years. And then you go, oh.
Yeah. No,
I understand what people were trying to tell me.
Well, and it always, I think the hardest thing is realizing once you're out of that phase of life, whatever it may be, if you're a teenager, if you're engaged, or like as the phases go on, I think it's the hard part of swallowing your pride and going,
oh yeah,
they did just love me and want the best for me, and that's okay. And even if it's not acknowledged, I understand it, and let's move forward, and I'll do better to the people below me, whether that's my kids or, younger people that I'm around or whatever, knowing, you know what, I can love them and still and press on and just know that they were right.
Yeah.
They were right.
And I think like it's foolish to think that I am not going to make any mistakes with my own kids.
Oh, yeah.
And it's also
we already have.
Oh, yeah. And that's the hard part is going,
they're barely alive, and we've done that.
I've already made mistakes. But it's like so is the way of life. You live and you learn.
It is what it is.
And you keep your diary and you look back and think, God, what an idiot. What an idiot.
That's a wholesome wrap up.
Oh,
what
it's
an
good.
Idiot.
We're recircling back around. I'm going to have to I might just have to do for the next few episodes like a daily reading on this because there's some good stuff. I get in to talk about some fights I have with my friends.
There's more where that came from.
Oh, there's a lot. There's a lot in there.
Well, on that note, it's time to close the book and close the podcast.
I could keep talking about the diary.
Imagine that.
Oh man. Well, we didn't really know where today's episode was going to go,
but that's where it went.
That's where it went. So thanks for listening. And as always, if you enjoyed this episode, it really helps us when you share. So you can just send a direct link to a friend or post it on your social media.
Also, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and give it a rating. That also helps us out a lot. And it's really fun to read along when you guys leave your reviews and your fun, loving words about how much you just love us. Am I right? Hopefully. If not, it's fine. Move along.
And again, special shout out to Jesse.
Yes, Jesse. We're always glad that you're here, and we know that you're always here.
We know you're there for us, Jesse.
Thank you, Jesse. Thank you, Jesse. We'll see you next time.
So long.
Over and out.